glorious purpose. Who said it first? Welcome to yet another live stream. In this one here, we're going to get straight down to business. No dilly-dallying, no fooling around. And we're going to talk about a very important and life-changing topic, Loki. If you haven't watched it, this is going to be very spoiler-full, right? So the big lesson for you here is, what are you doing? Why haven't you watched it? Why ain't you spiritual, high vibe, higher consciousness, and get to it? If you have watched it, lock in, because what we're going to be doing here in this live video, and yes, this is live, I speak this well, I don't need any cuts or edits, I hope. But in this live video, we're going to be diving really deep on the more spiritual side of this show. So if you're used to a lot of these, spoiler Easter egg videos, which I've checked a few out before doing this live, by the way, and there was one, no joke, where, say an episode's like, say 40, 50 minutes, the entire review episode is 30 minutes. So you're literally going to watch a show that's 40 minutes, and then the review episode is 30 minutes, and guess what? All he talks about was the recap of the episode. So I'm not going to, name any names. It is a he. And it was literally like, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. It's like, I watched the episode. At least give me some Easter eggs. At least give me some kind of background from the comic books. You don't need to narrate what my mind already narrated to me watching this. So it's not going to be one of those. It's also not going to be a super deep down the rabbit hole. Here's some little Easter eggs from, comic book number 349. It's not going to be that. Okay, I'm actually more of a Star Wars fan myself over Marvel. I'm a casual Marvel watcher, but I will say that Loki, and I will also say that Loki was actually never really my favorite character. I didn't like him that much, but watching this season, it really spoke to my soul. It spoke to my soul at a level where I started asking myself, did I write this? So let me explain. Okay, we're going to really, again, dive into the deeper side of things. If this spoke to your soul the way it did to mine, lock in. If you like deep intellectual ideas, lock in as well. Otherwise, go to TikTok. Hey, go watch a little dumbed down, watered down TikTok review. We're getting into the meat of the matter here. Okay, and once more, yes, this is live. I see a comment here from Steve Eck. Is this live? There's always one. It is. Okay, now, a couple things from you. Number one, please like, subscribe, share, comment, you name it, the whole shebang. It actually really helps the videos. No joke, your like has a lot of influence on the way the timeline of this video will progress. So click it now and just own the like. I hope when you click it, you feel like a little burst of power and influence. And number two, and this might discredit anything that I say from now on, but I have to put it out there because it's the right thing to do. Let me know. Okay, so again, I'm not a huge MCU Marvel know-it-all, but let me know if this is a plot hole or if there's an actual explanation. Okay, and once more, this is spoiler full, so click away if you don't want to be, spoiled. But when Loki and Sylvie, right, they're on the planet and the moon's crashing and they're about to die, and they form a connection. We're going to be talking about this, don't worry. They form basically a nexus event, right, where suddenly the timeline, and that's how, the TVA is able to track them down and save them. But here's the thing, right? The whole point of, say, going to an apocalypse timeline is so they can't be tracked, right? That's why she is hiding in all those timelines. So why is it that in this apocalypse timeline, they were able to create a nexus event, right? When it doesn't really matter what they do, because in the end, everyone dies. So technically, they shouldn't be able to be tracked. Maybe I misunderstood it. Maybe this, again, it's like, noob, off to the next Marvel breakdown, next Loki reaction. Not this Star Wars loving noob wearing a pink cat Gucci shirt with glitter. But, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments, right? What's the explanation? I'm not hating, I'm not dissing, I just want to know. The explanation could very well be that, hey, when two variants touch each other, it's actually so powerful that even in an apocalyptic timeline, it'll still create a nexus event. Okay, great, I'll take that, right? That, for me, is the simplest explanation, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so here's what I personally liked about this show, and once more, you could view it at a surface level, what is that, Scorsese level, being like, oh, it's just like a dumb roller coaster for kids, enjoy. But this one here is really took me by surprise. I might even say it's in my top 3, you could say, Marvel productions that they've put out there. Okay, and hey, there's another comment for you. Comment below, top 3 Marvels, right? Movies and shows combined, and you could say bottom 3 Marvels. What are your top favorite Marvels? What are your least favorite Marvels? Comment below. I'm curious. I want to see it. If you want to put the full list, go for it too, because I'll read through that too. But this one really surprised me. Didn't really like Loki. It was like, every time he's around Thor, I'm just like, get rid of this guy. But this one spoke to me, and the reason being is the depth to this, if you're able to see it, if you're able to get past just the fun, entertaining story, which is amazing, and really get to the core of it all, there are so many links to, again, spirituality, Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, even Stoicism. It's just amazing, and I love it. I really do. Okay, so I'm going to take you through some of my favorite moments, and I'll explain the link to these deeper spiritual ideas. Okay, so the first one is, and I love this, right? So in the spiritual world, there's this term called the Great Disillusionment, right? Or a saying from yours truly, the road to enlightenment is paved with disillusionment. So what does this mean? We all have this plan, right, that tends to be conditioned into us, where we think we'll be happy when, and our ego takes over, and we want to really accumulate, say, money, right, approval, success, this, and we have this whole game plan that's just laid out for us, right, and we're invested in it, we're committed to it. Right now, watching this video, you definitely have a game plan for yourself. You're like, and then I'll do this, and then finally, it will all come together. Now, guess what? Loki had a game plan too, right? His game plan was, hey, I'm going to conquer and eventually rule, the universe, right? That's his whole plan. And the phase that he goes through here is he sees his life unfold, right? So he actually sees even the future him, this whole thing unfold, and he realizes it didn't work. Okay, this is a big one. You could say there are 2 things that don't make you happy. Number 1 is when you don't get what you want. Number 2 is when you get what you want and you realize, hey, it didn't work. We all have this, whether it's a moment, a thing, a person, any kind of situation. We have all these things. I'll be happy when, and whenever we get them, it didn't work. And then we just keep doubling down. And for him, he saw it before the fact. He literally saw his life unfold, and he realized, wow, it didn't work, and in the end, he dies. And that's another big one, reflecting on your own mortality. Hey, no matter what you do, no matter what you get, no matter what your ego told you, get the money, get the approval, get to this. In the end, you know what you get? Same as everyone else, you die. And I just love this scene because I'll play a little clip here. When he watches his life unfold, the beauty is he really feels a stronger emotional, you could say, connection to when he sees, say, Thor, and it's like, oh, what matters in life really is not, what my ego's saying, power and conquering and dominating, but it's actually the deeper side of things. It's the connection, right? Oh, connection, family, friends. Oh, wow, the experience itself. And then at the end, once more, you just see the disillusionment. Whoa, it didn't work, right? My entire life, all my plans, all my energy, all my effort into this one thing. And I'm realizing now, fortunately, seen ahead, that perhaps isn't the way. Okay, this is the scene here.
Maybe you're not so bad after all, brother. Maybe not. Thank you.
That's the moment that speaks to me the most. Wow. Family, connection,
I'm here.
depth. This scene here is really the start of it all, in my opinion. The Great Disillusionment. Okay, sure, you could argue, okay, oh, there's a lot more to it. No, but this scene here, on the deeper side, that's it. He sees, wow, my entire life, this one thing, in the end I die, and wow, looking ahead, the only thing that really spoke to me was the emotional bond, right? The relationship I have with my brother. Interesting, huh? What does that mean for you? What's your plan? What's that I'll be happy when? What if, just like Loki, you could see into the future and be like, you know what? maybe that's not, the most authentic course of action. Maybe that's not the most authentic thing that matters to me. Right? This is called dying before you die. Right? Back to Stoicism, they had, you could say, memento mori. Right? Remember, you must die. In my own teachings, I do a death meditation where, people sink into this perspective and realize, just like Loki, all these things I thought was important actually wasn't, coming from that place of authenticity. Okay, so this was just beautiful, but it goes so much deeper than that. Okay, another scene that was really key is he gets stuck in this time loop prison, right? And he goes back in time and he's reliving the same moment, which is the following, okay?
You.
Sif!
You conniving, craven, pathetic worm. You did this!
What?
I hope you know you deserve to be alone, and you always will be.
All right. A bad memory prison? How quaint.
Okay. So he relives this again and again, and it takes a few tries, and then you fast forward, it's like tons of replays of this moment, and you see him just kind of snap out of that me-focused paradigm, right? There are two paradigms, you could say, or two polarities that we have, right? Say, there's a spectrum, there's the narcissist side and the codependent side. He's definitely more on the narcissist side, right? A codependent is others-focused, right? All about others, people pleaser. It tends to be someone in their upbringing that they were able to be, the golden child and actually please whoever's raising them. Someone who's more narcissistic, right, is more on the me-focused as opposed to others. They might have been the problem child, Loki, right? No matter what they did wasn't good enough, so they're just like, what, screw this, all about me, 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 me. And this here, reliving this, you see him kind of pierce through in his perspective outside of that me, 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 paradigm and being like, wow, I actually hurt people. I didn't consider the feelings of others, right? Oh, I cut her hair. Why? Because I thought it'd be funny. Just why not? Oh, but I didn't actually reflect outside of myself and be like, well, how could that have affected her in her life and so on and so forth, right? So you start seeing suddenly some you could say, dissolving of that polarity, right? Again, codependent, narcissist, there's the perfect middle, right? No one's at the perfect middle. But the more you work on yourself, the more you start dissolving that polarity, right? Decreasing it and moving closer to the middle of that spectrum, right? So that was another key scene. And then a third one here, and this is by far my favorite, and we'll talk about it, is when he's on this planet and the moon's crashing, he's there with, Sylvie, the variant, which is like another version of him in another, timeline. And they touch hands and sparks start flying.
We've got something.
Temporal lock.
Love this. Now again, surface level, okay, they touch hand, love, but no, go deeper, right? On the spiritual side of things, you see through these episodes, there's a lot of deep changes, right, happening within him. All these, again, whoa, like it's really him following this process of quote unquote enlightenment, right? And he reaches this point where it's a very interesting and somewhat creepy situation, right? He's there with technically him, right? Female him from another timeline, and they fall in love, right? He falls in love with himself. And what's beautiful here is this here is truly the symbol of him reaching a point where there is actually some self-love, right? Prior to that, he hated himself. That was the root of it all. That's the root of all suffering, right? Is there's an acceptable side of ourselves and an unacceptable side of ourselves. And we resist parts of ourselves, we disown parts of ourselves, we hate part of ourselves. And very few people reach this state of just self-love, right? You can try to force it, like what are some self-love techniques? But no. You got to let go of self-hate, right? Self-love isn't something that you do. It's what happens when you let go of self-hate. And that's what happens here, right? He sees him and it's like, there's actually love for himself. And even later on, and this is the beauty in, say, episode 5 that came out yesterday, is you see all the other Lokis, right? There's all the variants and it's again, very entertaining and funny. But the cool thing is, all of those other Lokis turn on each other, right? For the most part, right? They all turn on each other. Why? Because they still all hate each other. They don't trust each other. That's why they turn on each other. But him and Sylvia are the only two who actually, through their life and through, again, disillusionment, suffering, so on and so forth, like through those experiences, reach that point where they have that self-love. They actually love themselves. And that's why they're able to bond, fall in love, so on and so forth, trust each other versus the other Lokis. And that would be a question for you here. If you were to meet you, right? Say, oh, there's the variant that is you. Would you love you? If the answer is no, there's probably some work to do, right? There's that saying, if you look in the mirror and suddenly that, you in the mirror comes out and is alive, there are two reactions that people will have, right? On the extreme side of things. One is they'll make love to themselves. The other is they will kill that version of themselves. So question for you, are you more towards the, if another me, right? Oh, the me in the mirror comes out, am I gonna make out or end them, right? Which side of the spectrum are you? And this is just so beautiful in the way it's tied into the story. Again, this is so deep. This is self-love. This is the whole process of, say, letting go and spiritual work. And the way it was just tied in, it was so there's that, right? And then it doesn't stop there, right? So his journey then unfolds. So he reaches this spot where there's now some self-love, right? There's that spark. And you see it affect all aspects of his life, where he sees, say, in episode 5, all the other variants, and he's like, wait a minute, he just can't relate to them, right? Looking back, it's like, well, I can't even relate to this. And this self-love will also manifest in terms of, you could say, confidence, and also the ability to trust and open yourself up to other people, open yourself up to the world, right? Prior to this, he was someone who's very closed off. Sure, there was a couple moments with Thor where he's like, hi, brother. But for the most part, he was pretty closed off. And then there's this scene here, right? He's with Owen Wilson, and they're saying goodbye.
Loki.
And instead of shaking the hand, full-on vulnerability, opening up,
Thank you, my friend.
and actually having a friend.
You're my favorite.
Right? That was actually his first true friend, right? He opened up to and trusted and actually let in. And again, it's that, you could say, effect of that foundation of self-love and trust. No longer ego-driven, narcissist side, protection, me versus, don't trust anyone driven. And there's this huge shift that happens. And then the last big one, and this goes hand in hand with, if you read the books of, say, David Hawkins, right? There's power versus force. For a lot of people, and this applies to all aspects of life, you can also think of it as control muscles and release muscles. A lot of people try to force, you could say, for example, vocal projection, right? I want to be charismatic. They try to force it. They try to control things. It's very heavy as opposed to letting go and releasing. If you take tonality, right? Say you're stifled, you're like, I'm kind of scared. And then you try to force being loud. It's like, hey, it's very, people sense it, right? As opposed to just letting go, not being stifled, not being nervous, and letting it flow out. Like, hey, very different energy behind it. And you see literally him leading up until this point, he has access to some of his powers, but it's very forced, right? It's, again, protection, coping, control, forcing it. And in this moment, right, they're enchanting this creature with Sylvie, the variant. And you literally see him let go. And when he lets go, you could say he taps into a much powerful source, right? Like, check it out. Like that, Loki would never be able to do that with the force. It's like power. That is letting go. That's the power of letting go. And who taught him that. Daddy taught him that. So I'm also very proud of him at the same time. It's like a proud father looking at, a kid and watching the kid follow the process. It feels like, Loki is transformation mastery. I taught him a lot of what he knows. And that was really the whole purpose of this video here, right? Was, of course, to, teach you some deeper stuff when it comes to Loki, but it was mainly to make you realize that I taught him that. It was mainly to toot my own horn. And you know what? The world needs more of that. So, props to me. Clap on the other side. I hope you're clapping watching this, and I hope you're owning your clap. And if people are looking at you like, hey, where are you clapping? Be like, Julien taught him that. Daddy taught him that. Who's the real Loki? And actually, I have a question for you here. In the comments below, I know I asked a lot. Right? Like, number one, explain to me that Nexus, perhaps plot hole. Number two, give me your ranking. And number three, give me your prediction for episode 6. I know everyone and their mom is saying Kang, right? It's like, oh, it's going to be Kang. Look at all that. But I don't know. I've seen one, like a friend forwarded me a TikTok where someone's saying it's going to be the older Loki, right? The one who like sacrifices himself. It turns out he was pulling the strings. I don't think it's going to be him, but I think it's going to be perhaps another version of him, right? So the same actor, but not the one who sacrificed himself. But I could see it where it's like the final boss in the end is Loki, right? So it's this whole process of discovery, and in the end, it's him versus himself, right? Like, or is himself, like if he went full evil, and I don't know. That could be one. Could be Kang. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be both. Let me know, right? And let me know too here if you. Someone's like very modest. I know, right? I feel like I should be in the credits of Loki, but that's just me. Sometimes you got to let go of things. The same way Loki let go of a lot, I'm going to let go of, being in the credits. And I'm just going to talk about it here on YouTube instead. But no, let me know in the comments. Let me know too if you like this format, right? I was like, let's try something a bit new. Wouldn't it be interesting to talk about, this show, this very mainstream show, but actually link it to a lot of deeper ideas and philosophies. So let me know if you like it. Let me know if you'd like to see more of it. Let me know, right? That's pretty much it. Let me know. Someone's like, Italy, win or lose? Well, we all know with Italy, soccer games, well, football, they're always rigged. Never forget Italy, France, Zidane. But at the same time, I don't know. I think I might be leaning this time just because, because Loki inspired me. I might be leaning 51% towards Italy. So I actually hope you win. Zidane would not be proud of me, but I hope you win. And for the British folks out there, ignore what I just said. I'm 51% on your side too, and I hope you win. Whoever you are, I hope you win. I hope everyone can win. I hope Italy and England can just come together and make out and make love the same way Loki and himself are making out and making love in the finale. That's what I just wish. I wish everyone would just make love with themselves and each other, and everyone be happy. And I feel like that's the message that is Loki. I would have preferred, though, a Loki that is the exact same as him, and that's the variant, and it's him and himself making out and falling in love. But I get the Disney have to bring, they have to bring in a woman instead. Perhaps the finale. Perhaps the finale is him entering the castle, and it's the old self, and the old self's like, I'm evil. And Loki's like, but the power of love. For the end. That'd be beautiful. That's how I would write it. How I would write it would be this crazy, again, spiritual deep progression, and it ends up in this incestuous self-love orgy. That's the finale Loki needs. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, right? Is that the finale Loki needs? Yes, no. We shall see. Scrolling through some of the live chat here. What are David Hawkins' best books? My favorite book of his is actually Letting Go. I know a lot of people love Power versus Force. I think that one's great too, but I just got a lot more value out of Letting Go. My favorite part of Power versus Force is when he breaks down his scale, and his scale is basically the entire book, Letting Go. So Power versus Force is like a nice summary book. If you want to go deeper, Letting Go. That's my favorite book. Do I agree with everything in it? No. but that's by far my favorite book. And if I don't agree with everything in it, Loki doesn't agree with everything in it. So if you're a true MCU fan, use critical thinking. Someone's like, you should do Lion King. You know what? I've actually been using Lion King and Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, in some of my private coaching, right? So by the way, if you go to Julien Mentoring here, you can apply to join my private coaching or simply apply for a free coaching call. Anyone who does the call also gets a free letting go meditation. Loki did the call. So if you dig it, go to Julien Mentoring or click the link in the description and get on it. But yes, one thing I've been telling clients, and this is a great way to think of, say, different states that hijack us or run us, right? Like say you're in a state of victimhood and grief, okay? Very common. What this will do is, just like say in the Two Towers, there's that king and there's Worm Tongue, right? And Worm Tongue's like whispering into the king's ear. It's like, don't trust him, you're not good enough, like that. Or we should go like, and he's whispering in the ear, you're not good enough, and yeah, don't trust him, and you should be the king, and oh, Gandalf, no. Right, like whispering in his ear, and you see this king just rotting away. And this is really the parasite that is grief, right? It hijacks, it takes over, and it convinces you that you're this just weak, pathetic being. And then, in Lord of the Rings, you see at one point he just like, no, enough, right? It's like, put your foot down, like no longer buy into that, let it take over. And suddenly you see just life come back. If you're someone who's really stuck in this state of victimhood, remember that. Or Lion King, it's like, hey, remember who you are and catch any sign of that learned helplessness, right? It's like, it's too hard for me. It's like, yo, Simba, remember who you are. So yes, other great examples. There are many. Sounds like Lord of the Rings ASMR. Samwise Gamgee, carry me up the mountain, Sam. Sam, are you my friend? That was not even true ASMR. It's like, Sam, oh, just put it in my mouth, Sam. Oh yes, Sam. Oh, it's so juicy, Sam. I don't know how Loki got to here. If you just joined and you're like, hey, Loki, go back. Trust me, there's deep value in this. Okay. Let me see here. A couple final little chat comments here. Someone said, Letting Go just came in the mail. Awesome. Yeah, it's a great book. If you do want the practical side of it, because that's the only downside is, in the book you'll learn about letting go, but there is no how to. And it's very hard to find. If you'd like help with that, apply for a free coaching call. You also get a free letting go meditation that teaches you exactly how to, all free. And if you want to even take it further and work with me personally in a private setting, go to JulienMentoring.com. Okay. Now, I guess before we wrap this amazing breakdown, let me know once more if you dig predictions, the list, the MCU list. Give me an explanation for my plot hole, please, the Nexus plot hole. It has been on my mind, but, not enough to take the joy out of it, but it has been on my mind. Maybe I'm off, maybe I missed something, but hey, that's why, there's Star Wars. You can let me know too, right? Marvel or Star Wars. In the chat, in the comments, and like the video. Your like has a lot of power. And someone's like, we are all God. That might be your takeaway. You can also let me know your takeaway. But anyways, that's it. Sportiful review. Loki. Character I didn't really like. I now like a lot. Deep knowledge. Better than just a simple recap. And basically remember the biggest takeaway is Daddy taught him what he knows. All right. The biggest takeaway is who's the real Loki? Who taught him what he knows? Who basically wrote this script indirectly without talking to any of the writers? Because guess what? Transformation Mastery came out first.
Like, this program is such a game changer. The way everything's structured and the material, it's been already, even for me, it's just been, I'm noticing a crazy change in the way that my whole life's like playing out.
What you put together is just incredible. There's nothing like that.
I've just jumped like a million levels. It's just been a complete 180 for my experience of existing. That's awesome.
It's just been so huge in terms of so many of the things I'm finally understanding and realizing and epiphanies I'm having.
What you do is a huge inspiration to me, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things you can give to another human in this entire world.
You saved my life, man. I'm telling you, this is real, man.
Sometimes all it takes is just one person who believes in you. Find people who are where you are in life and model them, work with them. I would not be here if I didn't have people who held me accountable.
Wow.
I just felt a click and things are changing.
This program was just top notch.
Seriously, like this is a masterpiece. This is perfect.
Everything, the way it's set up, the live calls, like all the support from the coaches is incredible.
It's been nuts.
I just had my tears of joy.
This was the best decisions I ever made.
Thank you for creating something wonderful like this.
This program was phenomenal.
This program was amazing.
This program has definitely changed my life.
I know for a fact I'm in the right place.
This is exactly what I was expecting from the program.
It's been spectacular.
I feel really lucky to have found you.
Thank you so much, Julien. It's worth every dollar.